father was catching all these beautiful fish, and there was no sale for them. You know, it was sort of a depression. And so...
What year was that?
I really don't know exactly which year. It was during the Depression.
The 30s?
Not in the first of it, but... So he went to school, and we bought him this motorcycle, and he had a sidecar on it. And every week, see, my husband owned a poultry farm, and he served the day-old eggs to all the hospitals and the first-class restaurants in the city. LIZ, Sibley Hospital, Emergency Hospital. And so we had all these places that would buy the fish. So they had a factory, a place down here, where they filleted the fish. They started something new. Up there, fish were always delivered on a string, not clean, to the hotels. And they started filleting the fish and packing them in containers, and then packing the ice around them. The ice never touched the fish. And they would ship them up there, and he'd take orders and deliver them to the hospitals. And LIZ was one of our biggest customers. It was one of the nicest restaurants in the city then. And Emergency Hospital, Sibley Hospital, I remember all of it. And he got a very good start. He had more business than he could take care of. And then on Saturday, when he was out of college, he'd take the motorcycle and run around and sell stores in different places.
And he'd fill the sidecar up?
With his sidecar. And he was doing very well. And we thought he'd gotten over the girl in the country. And that since he was in college, going to school, that he would be happy, and we thought we had it made. And he told us he just really loved the country better. He had bad sight in one eye. And he said that his brother, Bill, who was in the automobile business, would be so much better at what he was doing. And he could take it over and really make a good business out of it. So he just wanted to swap places with mine and let my brother there take over his fish business. And by that time, my father we had a lot of acres of oyster beds, and we had our own oysters. And they shipped just barrel after barrel of steamed hard crabs.
Wow.
They would steam the hard crabs down here, and they'd send them up 2-3 times a week.
To Washington?
To Washington.
To your brother in Washington?
That's when my brother in Washington, Bill, gave up the automobile business he was in, and rented a place down in the market and started a business.
Oh, like a stand?
A stand. Well, we had it was a...
Down there on Main Avenue?
Oh, yes. It was #1 in the market, with only one stall left. It was on the... And he soon had... in 3 years, we were the largest wholesalers in Washington City.
Did you have competition from people down here in Kilmarnock?
No, nobody down here. We were the first to do it.
So who was supplying me? Where was Washington?
The people in the city were furious at us. They said we were kids, we'd soon go out of business. And they were still sending them in on strings. They string them by the gills.
And you had the fillets.
And we had the beautiful fillets of fish my father was really, should get the credit.
Mm-hmm.
He would pack them beautifully, and they were all filling. We had, you know, a lot of help down here. And they had a shucking house over there, where the wharf was.
Mm-hmm.
They'd shuck the oysters, and they had a big old sawmill that brought in there, and that's where they steamed. They used a steamer on the sawmill to steam the crabs.
So you and Bill would work down at the seafood stand and sell seafood? Is that how it worked?
I did only bookkeeping.
You did all the books.
He had nothing to do with the books, and I had nothing to do with the buying and selling. He managed the food, and I did the bookkeeping and the billing and the paying of the bills.
So you actually created a market.
We started something that was new, and
The fillets. It was a marketing strategy.
and all these these Sibley Hospital, it was the old Sibley, and Emergency, and all of them were just so delighted to get these beautiful fillets and didn't have to clean
Clean
them.
the fish.
And so then we started buying from all over the country and selling to other people.
What your father couldn't supply? Is that?
When he couldn't supply enough, he'd buy them up for us down here.
Okay, how would he get the fish from here to Washington?
There were trucks. There was a truck running. There was trucks running from down here up there all the time.
From down here to Washington?
To Washington.
To your seafood stand?
Yes, to all
No.
of them up there. They big trucks.
Were these trucks that you owned?
No, we didn't own the trucks.
Okay, so you would lease space on the trucks, I guess.
We would pay freight. There was so much
Right.
a barrel
Like
or
a
basket.
UPS or whatever.
And we'd pay whatever when they'd come in. And he'd bill us and we'd send him back the money. And but in the meantime, my brother Linwood came back down here. See, his old girlfriend, the one we were worried about, was engaged to another man. And the minute my brother came back down here, she broke her engagement off with the other man and married my brother.
Wow.
And of course we were very,
Upset.
we were sorry about it. We accepted her. And
Now, why was it that you were disappointed?
because we didn't think she was worthy of him. My father always said, if he'd have married their mother, she was very nice, but the girl was too wild. But anyhow, they never had any children, and I don't know how many years, but she was very crazy about Linwood. But she'd go off to Norfolk.
Who was she? What was her name?
That'll come to me in a minute. I know it so well. But she'd go off on the weekends to shop or somewhere. And so he got suspicious and he followed her. And she was meeting a steamer that was coming in, and a captain of a big steamer she was in love with. And so he picked her up, went down, followed her, and picked her up and brought her back and gave her back to her mother and told her mother he was through. There was never any fight or anything. So like, he'd pay for the divorce, he'd pay for everything, but he just was not, he wasn't fooling around.